legislation that was in the Senate, which was the Rand Paul version that was in the House. Believe it or not, and most of you sitting down now, Michael Bennett did not respond to my but it is clear that the Democrats don't want to look at the Federal Reserve and don't want to look at the horrific monetary policy that we are engaged in. The Federal Reserve is supposed to be an independent agency, and it is not supposed to act in a way that covers up the gross deficits and spending that is going on right now. And I think we need to make sure that the Federal Reserve is audited and that we take the necessary steps to make sure that the Federal Reserve acts in the best interest of our people.
Well, Ken, my good friend, I couldn't agree more with you. So let me spend my minute and a half talking about banking regulations, because I do agree with everything you said on the Federal Reserve. We do need to audit it. But folks, the banking, or more importantly, the 1974 Budget Act that requires Congress to pass a budget every year. And for the first time in the history of our country, this Congress is totally going to ignore that law. Some Congresses in years past have delayed it, but this Congress, because of the incredible amount of debt and deficit that are spending right now, are not even going to pass a budget, and they're going to wait until after the election. And that, I think, is unbelievably outrageous. And so we as citizens need to do everything we can do to contact our members of Congress and say, pass the budget. How in the world can we get control of spending if we can't even pass a budget? Thank you.
How would you define victory in Afghanistan?
And this is one of the areas where we have some disagreement between Ken and myself. In the Statesman article, you talked about the importance of withdrawing our troops from Afghanistan. I believe that we need to double down in Afghanistan. Let's remember what the original mission of being in Afghanistan was, why we first went there. And it was the fact that Taliban had taken over the country and that allowed, in concert with the Taliban, Al-Qaeda to have a foothold. And Al-Qaeda was training and exporting terrorists throughout the world. The president has articulated that, unlike Ken says, nation building, ours is a counterinsurgency strategy. And that means that we have to disrupt, dismantle, and defeat the Taliban and Al-Qaeda where they are. I say we need to fight radical jihadist terrorists and their ilk where they are, not where we are. And this is a difference. So what does victory look like for us in Afghanistan? If our mission is disrupting, dismantling, and defeating, then that's what victory looks like, where we can have stability in that country, and they certainly won't look like our democracies, but if that region can be stable, and it's not producing terrorists and exporting them around the world, then that is victory in the region.
I think we need to accomplish three goals in Afghanistan. First, I think we need to make sure that it is not a safe haven for terrorists. Second, I think we need to make sure that we disrupt and dismantle the drug trade coming out of Afghanistan. And third, we need to make sure that we are promoting stability in Central Asia. When we accomplish those goals, and Jan, I want to make sure you hear this because you said it last night to me also. When we accomplish those goals, we need to withdraw the troops that we can from Afghanistan, still leaving a minimal presence there, make sure that Afghanistan is not a safe haven for terrorists at any point in the future. The mistake that we make is we need to be as flexible as our opponents. We need to be as flexible as our enemy. And if we are sitting with our troops bogged down in Afghanistan, we are not attacking them in Yemen. We are not attacking them in Somalia. Al-Qaeda will play wherever they can and wherever we don't have a presence. If they have a base in Yemen, I'm in favor of taking that base out. In fact, folks, I'm in favor of, you remember the Christmas Day bomb. When he came off of that plane, he should not have been read as Miranda rights. He was a foreign nationalist. We should use whatever enhanced interrogation techniques we needed to find out where he was trained in Yemen. We should have sent a cruise missile heading that direction, and we should have taken out that terrorist training camp. We cannot make a change. We cannot keep our focus on Afghanistan when our enemy is across the world.
Thank you. Next question. What is your opinion on earmarks?
Both Jane and I have signed a no earmark pledge. The no earmark pledge has been sponsored by the Senate Conservatives Fund, Senator Jim DeMint, who has endorsed me and is going to be here on July 8th, if anybody would like to see me. Absolutely, I fear earmarks for a very simple reason. The process is set up so that we vet appropriations and we vet spending. And so many of our senators back in Washington, D.C. have gone around that process and hidden the real reasons for their expenditures. And we need to make sure that we shine the light of day on every dollar that we spend, and hopefully less dollars will be spent.
Thank you.
I was proud to be the first one in the Senate race to sign the no earmarks pledge. I think this is a very important issue for us in this campaign, and that's why I'm pleased to have done that. Let me tell you, Michael Bennett, in his first year as our senator, has asked for 60 earmarks, totaling more than $250 million. That was in his first year. Folks, those are probably all good Colorado projects, but they should have been competed through the appropriations process. And that's what's wrong about Washington right now. $13 trillion in debt, and earmarks are one of the issues that we need to get control of. Tomorrow I'll be announcing that I am hoping, if I have the pleasure of serving and the privilege of serving as your U.S. Senator, that I would institute legislation that would allow us as Coloradans to keep our federal fuel tax. Right now we're a donor state. 30 other states are donor states. We collect the federal gas tax, and then we take it, we send it to Washington, and it gets earmarked for bridges to nowhere and all sorts of other projects. And senior senators who serve for very, very long times get to use that for earmark money. So I say, collect the money, but keep it in Colorado, and let us, our bipartisan Colorado Transportation Commission, make the decisions about where the priorities are, such as I-70 and our priority projects in transportation.